We've met Rui and we've met Aisling, but we haven't met Philomene before. So Philomene, could you start by giving a couple of moments about yourself and your role with ICEP, please?
Okay, pleasure. First of all, thank you for the invitation to be present, Mr. Ambassador. It's a pleasure to be with you and Jeffrey too, to meet you today. So I'm Philomene Diaz. I'm the person in charge of the Inward Investment Department at ICEP. ICEP is the Portuguese Trade and Investment Agency. So we are a public agency. We have the main mission to promote exports, Portuguese exports, so help companies based in Portugal to export overseas. And we help also foreign investors to look at Portugal and to decide for Portugal. So we have a national coverage. We have offices in Lisbon and in Porto. By the way, our headquarters are in Porto, the official headquarters, even if the board members are based in Lisbon, but the official headquarters are in Porto. I'm very proud to be part of the Porto office. And as coordinator of the Foreign Investor Department, so we are, I will say, the main point of contact when foreign companies from different countries, not only Ireland, but Ireland, we have been receiving several requests and working with several companies. So the main point of contact to look at Portugal and to convince company to look at Portugal as the suitable location for the new project. But we also help, and it's a new trend, companies to look at Portugal as an option. It's not a new trend. It's not a new trend for sourcing, but to look at sourcing and then acquisition of new capacity, because some companies are looking to diversify the market for sourcing. So we also help on that and to acquire some industrial capabilities.
Okay, so if I can get this straight then. So ICEP work pretty much outside the country in terms of attracting investment in, but once it gets here, do you deal with it or does the City Hall deal with it if they're talking about Porto and they have decided that, you know, looking at it, that this is where they want to go?
Well, it's a good question. What we do is first to attract the foreign investors, and so we act in the overseas markets directly, but then when we are in contact with potential investors, we also work with investors on all the stage of the decision process, and when they decide to locate also, we will still follow this investor and help to set up the business in the aftercare. We never stop the relation, but we rely on the local partners, so we complete our action with the local partners. It's very important to understand as ICEP, we are not the owners of territory, but we sell Portugal. And the owners of territories is the mayor, so it's the local authorities. So to be successful in our approach and our strategy, we need to rely on the support of the local authorities and the local players. So we work with the investors during all the journey as Investport. Porto, but we are in very good contacts and straight contacts to ensure that we will give together the best answer to the investor.
Okay. And is there a scale of company that you work with?
Yes, by our status, what we, in terms of investment, ICEP, we are in charge to work with large company, so company that have a consolidated turnover above 75 million euros. But in practice, we work with all companies. The main difference, we cannot say to a company, oh, you are too small, we won't help you, okay? And because we are a small team, we know that we cannot give the same support to all companies. So for large investors, and because large investors put all the countries in high competition, so we need to answer in a short notice in some questions. So we will have a more complete services, but all the small companies that come to us, we will always answer to them, and we will also to guide them to have the best answer to connect with the right partner in the local market.
Mm-hmm. And Rui, you obviously have startups, so you're talking like micro businesses and upwards. Do you have an upper limit of scale of companies that you help, or do you just help anyone who's interested in the Porto market?
Yeah. So just to recap one question that you did to Philomene, just to say that Investport is part of the Porto municipality. It's not an outside agent, so it's inside the municipality. And of course we work together, we talk every day. But the main added value that we are inside the municipality is that we can be a one-stop shop regarding everything that is related to direct subjects that are overseen by the municipality. So we are inside the municipality, so we can do that work, the process can be as smooth as possible, because time is money for investors. So just to clarify that we are inside the municipality of Investport, that is very important. The issue of who do we support? Of course, we target high-level investors, but like Philomen said, we don't say no. Usually, but of course we need to see if it's a small investment that they have a business plan to scale up. So we welcome every sectors and everyone that wants to come to the Porto and invest. So we see and we listen, and if it's very small, even on that stage we can help find the right stakeholders to give them the support that we need. Of course, we target high-level investors and companies because we are not a very big team, so we have a strategic position on that aspect. That's why Xian mentioned leading investors. So we are targeting those kind of initiatives, but we don't close the door to anyone. So everyone that can send, everyone can contact us. We will reply, we will meet, and we will help you, as I said, in the end, to achieve your goals. That is our mission.
Mm-hmm. And just, I'm going to stick with you two just for 1 second before I move back to you, Aisling. Mm-hmm. So in terms of actual practical supports, what do you say to people when they're approaching you? What do they need to have if they're going to go into either of you to say, I need support, I'm thinking of doing 100 people in an office in Porto, we need 50 in IT, we need 20 in administration, we need 6 in finance. Do you put them in touch with other people? Do you outsource what they do? Or do you keep some of it in-house and put the rest of it out? So we'll start with you, I suppose, Philomene.
Okay. Yeah. When the companies approach us, the first stage is to provide useful information to look at the market. So when they are targeting Porto and the Porto region, so we provide information about the pool of talent regarding the areas they are looking for, the competition, to know that we already have international company with operation in Portugal. So all this kind of information that is important to build the business case. And then the company, usually then we used to go in the short list of options of location, and the company will ask, well, now I want to connect with HR company, with international company that are already located there to exchange experiences and to see some option of offices to have a real idea of the cost to establish there. So then we organize a site visit program. During the pandemic, it was virtual site visit, and now it's fortunately again on-site visits. So we organize visits and meetings with HR company, with lawyers, with real estate company, with universities. It's very important to connect with local university, then they can have this exchange of what kind of training formation that we are giving at our university, what are the plan and the strategy, and because the first source of talent is the young students. So it's important to have this feedback. So we organize all the program, and we are part of the program too. And then when the company decide to establish, we will still to help to connect with lawyers, to provide information about salaries, about tax, and I will say our experiments never stop, okay? Mm-hmm. So it's information, location, to connect with the right agent. So when we decide to establish, you will need a lawyer, so to connect with lawyers. You will need to hire people, so to connect with HR company. So we'll do all this job for the investors.
And Rui, from your perspective then, as being part of the city, how do you approach, when people approach you, or do they need to approach you if they're coming in from outside to say you're setting up in the city?
They are not obliged to approach us, of course. Mm-hmm. Probably they will approach us in a certain time period, but the key word here is knowledge and information. So what we can provide and support is specific information about specific needs that companies have to build the business plan, because they can go on Google and search it. Okay, what we can add in value is specific information regarding specific requests, because each company is different from the other. So we have a tailor-made approach. We don't send to a website or a link, so we have a direct connection with the people that are analyzing the opportunity to come to Porto, and give full support during that journey, hoping that in the end the choice will be Porto. So it's a tailor-made, it's a personalized relationship with a specific project manager, and of course we can have a more added value if the company, for example, wants to build a location here in Porto, because that is municipality in terms of licensing and so on, and on that we can have also a specific project manager that helps. And like Shen said, it's not just coming to Porto. We have an aftercare service. And another thing that we are very proud that we do in Invest Porto is that we forge relations between people, and that is very important. And that is made by several things that we usually do. That is putting people together, putting people talking with each other, because we saw here examples, for example, of Critical Tech Works, that is BMW with partnership with Critical Software, that is a Portuguese company. So we connect people, and again, a tailor-made approach, and not let's say a tailor-made approach and an holistic view, because it's not just investment or taxes or legal issues, it's also about talent. So we try to, in the end, put the business and the company and the investors in the center of the ecosystem, for them to feel at home. That is our goal.
And as you know, if a company started, and Ashling's company would be a perfect case in point. They have a small office here, and now they want to expand by 80 people. Should Ashling go back to you and say, look, we've got this small office, well, now we need something, we need bigger help? What kind of ongoing relationship and supports would you give to companies doing what Ashling's company is doing?
We have a lot of those requests. Most of the time, companies come here with a small office, a small level of operations, and then they scale up. So we provide that services. And for example, in terms of location, they can say, we have 50 people, we want to grow to 200 people in the next 2 years, and we give support. We will ask, what is your demand in terms of location, office space, technical conditions, whatever, and we will do this. And this, I think, is important also. We don't charge services, because we are inside the municipality of Porto, so we are a public entity, and we do this with the companies, and we do this a lot. So we work with companies for several years, and we love see them growing with us, because they come here for the first time with a meeting, one day, then they come with a larger team of consultants to try to study in more depth the issues of legal, taxes, and so on, and then they started to work, and then they start to expand, and for us it's a joy to see that. And I think our greatest business card is examples of the companies that are here. So I usually say, I can have a great presentation, but why not to talk with someone that is already here? Because this is our greatest business card, is asking a company from Ireland or other places, what do you feel of working in Porto? This is our main business card to come in to invest in Porto.
So, Aisling, turning to you, I mean, we've heard the top level view.
Yeah.
You know, your experience from the ground up of building the businesses in Porto. How much did you need to rely on the expertise of ISEP or the City Council in getting established, or did you bother, or you know, what approach did Global Shares take?
We've always done it through our own team, so from Clonakilty to Lisbon, and then from Lisbon to bigger Lisbon, and then with the team that we had already in Porto, and we found the location space. So to my knowledge, I don't think that we connected, but we certainly are connected now. And I think it'll be interesting from now on, because we couldn't come over with the pandemic. None of our staff have been able to go to the office, even though we've been paying for office space in Porto in uptake this time. So I suppose today is a day for starting that. But I know that our head of HR, Stephen Tabb, would have been involved and in charge of all of that, and would have done the analysis between the different locations. And it is complicated going into a new market and getting the lawyers and setting up, your tax system for your employees. And once you've done it and it works, and like we've done it in 11 different countries, it's a lot of work. And if you find a country where it works and you can replicate and stay in the country, we've done that in the US. We have 2 offices. We have Jersey City and Nashville. We've done it. We're just doing it in Leeds now. We have Leeds and London. And here, if you find something that works, you build on that.
Mm-hmm. And staying with you, Aisling, what was really attractive about Porto for given how much you're planning to expand here now?
Yeah, it ticks all the boxes. I think for me, the greatest impression for me is this thriving, proactive scene. It's very innovative. It's the work has been done many years ago to put all of these systems in place for the city to thrive, I think that for me is huge. We do look for locations with the good work-life balance, because it's easier to have happier employees in places where they can be happy living. It's huge, and we are very much people-centric. But the graduate element is huge, and that's why we're located beside the university. So we need a feed of graduates who can come up and who want to come into a company like ours and grow. And they can join in Porto, but they can end up in Lisbon or Hong Kong. So we have people from Ireland moving to Lisbon. We have people from, Barcelona moving to Ireland. So there's a huge opportunity to grow and move across the company and move into different departments as well.
Well, it seems like there's quite a few students here for you to get your hands on. Philomene, I'd like to address something that I know ICEP are involved in, but will be definitely of interest to Rui too, is the idea that you have companies that are suppliers into Ireland. Can you tell us a little bit about ICEP's export role for Portuguese companies? And we'll follow up then with what companies in Porto itself, which is obviously the industrial hub of Portugal, our experience is of trying to go towards Ireland. Can you tell us a little bit about the export role?
Yes, for sure. So as I mentioned at the beginning, so we help foreign investors to invest in Portugal, but also a Portuguese company, national, not Portuguese, it can be a foreign company, but based in Portugal, to export overseas. So we have our commercial team that work, they are key account manager of company based in Portugal, and we help our company to export by providing information about markets, by connecting them to buyers of companies that they are targeting in some sectors in different markets. And we have also our office overseas, so we are an office in Dublin, and we help locally the local companies, so Irish company, to identify potential suppliers from Portugal. And what we have seen, and it's a result of the pandemic, is recently some company that used to buy European companies that used to buy in markets, more distant markets, that now are looking for suppliers in Portugal, in Europe and in Portugal, and more than a normal relation, suppliers is what they call a strategic partnership, industrial partnership. And from Ireland also we have seen also these trends to see companies that do not have their own industrial capabilities and want and asking the help to ICEP to identify companies that are interesting to be sold, and then they can buy one existing company and to expand this company and to have their own industrial capabilities. It's a way to secure their production and they have a more larger control on the production. So ICEP, we help on that. So we help the company based in Portugal to export overseas, so to connect to potential clients, but we help also the foreign companies to buy in Portugal. So regarding the products or the services that they are looking for, to find the right partner in Portugal for a simple buyer relation, or also for an acquisition.
And Rui, a lot of what we hear anecdotally, and I will say it's anecdotally, is that, you know, Irish companies, when they look towards Porto, it's for staff, it's for talent. But going back to your point, you know, we know that there's huge markets in this part of Portugal for, you know, industrial engineering goods, all of that. Is there an interest at city level in export, or do you just do investment, inward investment only?
No, I think we do both.
You do both.
So I agree. Most of the time they come to Porto just to have a base and to hire talents and try to develop some products or service in Porto. What we have seen is that most of the companies then start to scale up and do other things, and they find out that they can do a lot of products and services in Porto and export globally. We have examples like this. We have companies that came here in a very small scale, then scale up, and then they are working for the whole international group from Porto. So our main export, in fact, is talent, is knowledge. In the end, that is what is all about. So we have seen these cases in many, for example, in Natixis. Now they are working from Porto to all over the group, worldwide. So why? Because they are surprised in a good way when they are working here about the knowledge, the capabilities, and they start to understand that we can do more, have a more active role from Porto that was initially on the original business plan. So that is what we love most to see. That the managers that are here, a country manager, then starts to call the CEO of the group and say, we can do more, we can provide more, we can just not be a simple provider, but a center of excellence and of innovation. And that is happening a lot of times. And that is a very, very good idea of the quality of the ecosystem. And I think maybe we see cases like this. Again, small operations to provide a simple service or product for inside the group, and then they start to scale up and they start to export to the group and to export all over the world. For example, Deloitte operates in Portugal. It's a very renowned international company and provides services for the United States, Canada, Northern Latin America, from the base here in Porto. So 90% of the work that they do is to export abroad, working with Portuguese and Porto talents and so on. Just a small thing that I don't know if anyone knows, we are very close to the industrial part of Portugal, that is the northern Portugal. And for example, we have companies that develop specific products that need to be manufactured, and they can easily connect to the industrial part of the business, because the northern part of Portugal is the strongest all over the country in terms of production units. So that is also a very good combination. You can have developing certain products and then start to manufacturing here 20, 30 kilometers from the city of Porto.
Within a short distance. Yeah. I'm going to ask the audience, do they have any questions that they'd like to address to any of our panelists here at the moment?
When you first landed in Portugal on day zero, you went to Lisbon. So I believe probably the experience would be the same of some company that want to land in Porto. Can you tell us some pain points that you had, and what would ASAP or Invest Porto would be able to help on that journey?
Yeah, I mean, we started small because we had a few people coming back to Portugal from Ireland. So we had 4, maybe 5 people in a small office in the centre of Lisbon. We had a fantastic relationship with them. We had the trust already there, and it was just a case of moving their place of employment to Portugal. So we knew what we were getting ourselves in for, but what we didn't realise at the time how big we were going to get. And we didn't realize we were going to open this big, huge office in Portugal so soon, which was a big success. But we've had failures in moving to new countries. We've moved too quickly. We haven't done enough research, or we expected a country would work and it didn't because we went in too early. It was too premature. For example, Brazil, we had a number of very big clients in Brazil, and dealing with the Brazilian market, we thought, okay, we'll try there. So there's definitely, on paper, you're always told to do your market research, make contact, do your site inspections, and put your plan in place. And that is the best advice. And that stands the test of time. If you do go by your gut, it might absolutely work. For example, our 4 focus markets, in the pandemic, we made a decision. We're writing our 5-year plan. We went into extraordinary detail. And then when we had decided on our 4 largest economies in the world, Japan, China, Europe and North America, along came the Middle East. Now, we're not going after the Middle East, we said, because we're going after these 4 markets. But the opportunity was extraordinary in the Middle East. So what do? You take time, you have a look, and you say, okay, I really can't afford not to do this, but obviously that's going to have an impact on somewhere else in your business. So you have to know the ins and outs of each market. In Germany, you need particular bank partnerships to do business. So we've learned every market. We say we're a global company, but the world isn't global. The world is very specific. You have to know the specifics of each market. And now when we decide to go and include the Middle East, we know what we're doing. We know exactly. Do we need a partnership? Yes, we do. What's that going to mean for the team? And now we discover. We have a discovery process and we have a committee. So I suppose we've learned, you can't conquer a new market without experience and people on the ground and a plan. So that's my advice. You need
and
a
you've
plan.
just met your plan here now today.
Yeah.
So has anybody else any questions?
Hi, I am. It's not as fashionable as IT, but I work exporting manufactured goods out of Portugal. And the single biggest problem I hear from the factories that I work with is finding people to work on the shop floor, actually doing the work, particularly young people, not really interested in that. And in IT, there's a massive problem at the moment. There's so many companies like Global Shares coming to Porto, and there's just a very limited pool of well-qualified professionals come and work for them. And it strikes me that the biggest limit to growth at the moment is getting people to work. I wonder what the panel thinks about how that problem is going to be solved.
I would have to talk about the benefit of employee ownership in that instance, because not only do you want to attract the right people, you want to retain them when you do get them, because you want to reduce the amount of attrition, but you want to incentivize them to do a great job. That it's not just about the work anymore. It's about making a really successful company. So it doesn't matter, employee ownership doesn't matter what business you're in. It's industry agnostic. Our clients are manufacturing, their transport, their print media, their fintech, their insurance, their IT. It's every industry. It's a very interesting solution to that problem.
When you come to Porto, you're going to be nicking professionals from all the other, from Farfetch and God knows who else, because there's just a carousel of IT workers here. So, I mean, it strikes me that that's a problem that the Porto investment people have to solve. They're going to attract Global Shares and someone else to come here, and there just aren't enough IT professionals to service all these companies. I mean, perhaps with you'll be able to attract the best because you can pay more or whatever, but there's just not enough professionals to go around.
Yeah, I think we go to locations where there's a carousel of graduates coming through, and we can onboard those and give them a very exciting future. But it's not that long ago since I joined, when there was 50 staff in Global Shares, and we couldn't find any professionals who'd want to come and work in Global Shares who nobody ever heard about. So you've got to build your global brand, and you've got to become a great place to work, whether you're officially accredited or not. You've got to have you've got to have a compelling reason to come and work for your company, and it has to be real. It has to be tangible. Like, we go to great lengths to make Global Shares a great place to work and to connect. Yeah, I'll maybe pass over.
So, Rui, I mean, going back to that point, I mean, there is a huge university population in this area, and, you know, Porto is well recognised for its talent. Do you think that there is a talent squeeze on, or is it just a little bottleneck at the moment and it's going to expand again shortly?
No, I don't think Porto has a talent problem. I think Europe has a talent problem, okay? It's not Porto, it's not Lisbon, it's Europe. I think we will not jeopardize the quality over quantity. So we will not double the number of engineers graduated from the university, because in the long term that will not be sustainable in terms of quality. Of course, what the municipality is trying to promote, for example, with innovative schooling education projects. For example, it will be in Porto a French international school called 42. I don't know if anyone knows the project 42. It's a French project that will start a few meters from here, working on... it's not a school that gives a graduate level, but will work on the IT sector in terms of developers and so on. So Porto is also promoting projects that will help the issue of the talent. But I think it's not the issue of Porto, it's not the issue of Lisbon, of Portugal, it's a challenge of Europe. But I think that we can also, and we want to attract foreign talent to the city of Porto. So we welcome everyone that wants to come to Porto. Not every talent should be from Porto, from the University of Porto. We have a lot of Erasmus students that discover Porto when they come here in Erasmus. Then when they finish the degree, they come to Porto again to work. And I think it should be, it's not a silver bullet solution. So we need to see how we can deal with all the things that the city can offer. But we are working on alternative, I don't think it's a bad word, but new forms of putting talent on the market that comes from alternative education systems. And this case is an international case that is very successful, 42 project, that can provide to the market some level of expertise that don't need to be a graduate student to be a good employer. And the reason is for that, for example, we have one of the biggest banks in Portugal is a primary partnership with this project of 42 that is in Lisbon already for maybe 2 years from now, with a lot of success. So we are also, as a municipality, promoting this kind of talent that is more, that has more elasticity, that we don't need to wait 3 years or 5 years to have a graduate that can go to the market. And I think it's important for us to share these examples also.
Okay, great. Arnold, I think we've run out of time, haven't we? So I would like to thank my panellists, Philomene, Aisling and Rui. It's been extremely informative. I hope that you all heard something and that something struck a chord with you. I think from the sounds of it, Porto is a very interesting city. Aisling, I wish you all the best. And Rui and Philomene, I hope that we can continue to develop the Portuguese-Irish relationship in terms of knowledge, talent transfer and exporting mutually.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.